Hi, I'm Senator Malcolm Roberts and I'm in Noosa National Park with Dr. Peter Ridd and Dr. Jennifer Marohasy. And you may remember that we released a study from the respected economist Dr. Alan Moran called The Hidden Cost of Climate Policies and Renewables. What that shows is that, and he's used government figures, government data, and so it's irrefutable. What it shows is that the cost of climate policies and renewable energy policies is at $13 billion a year every year in Australia. That's $1,300 per household in Australia. Then a week later, which was last week, we released this report, Restoring Scientific Integrity. And we didn't say much in that, we just quoted what CSIRO had told us. The CSIRO, which is the government's advisor on climate science, has never stated that carbon dioxide from human activity is dangerous, never. They admitted that temperature today is not unprecedented. Imagine that, eh? They withdrew discredited papers after they tendered them to us and we showed them to be false, completely wrong. And they've never quantified any specific amount of consequence due to our carbon dioxide from human activity. So there's no science, and what they rely on ultimately is models, as you know, and those models are unvalidated.
Simulation modelling.
Yeah, unvalidated, and they've been wrong. So what I would like to do here is understand that we've come here to look at why you're paying this money. We want to connect with Dr. Jennifer Marohasy, who's got evidence that shows there is nothing to be concerned about. Dr. Marohasy?
So we've just been out and looked at evidence etched into the shoreline of sea level fall. Sea level fall of about 1.5 metres over about the last 4,000 years. So you can say, well, 4,000 years, that's sort of a long time, but I mean, it's the significant trend in the landscape here is of sea level fall. At the moment, there's a huge focus on 36 centimetres of sea level rise, which is another cycle over the last 100 years. But think about 36 centimetres versus 1.5 metres. So the really significant cycle is one of sea level fall. Now I showed you two examples of that, the marine potholes and the wave cut platform at the bottom of the cliff face. And maybe we can talk more about that evidence down the track, or this morning, but this is evidence to show that within the shoreline, etched in the shoreline, is evidence of sea level fall.
And if you look at the climate record over 10,000 years, which is what we asked the CSIRO to do, there's no evidence that we're affecting climate in any way at all. The CSIRO could not come up with one thing statistically significant. So we're looking at cycles over extended period. And Dr. Peter Ridd, we've also postulated that we need an Office of Scientific Integrity. Would you like to make comments on that?
Yes, that's right. So a lot of the science is coming out unchecked. So what you're saying about sea level fall is absolutely right. If you actually go up the coast along the Great Barrier Reef, there's a huge amount of evidence of a 1.5 metre sea level fall. That's actually killed a huge amount of coral over the last few thousand years. And the irony is that if there is a significant sea level rise, there'll actually be more coral on the reef, not less coral. So this is one example of poor quality assured science. This is affecting everybody along the coast in terms of, the legislation about sea level, about the way we affect the Great Barrier Reef or we don't affect the Great Barrier Reef. And what I'm calling for is an Office of Science Quality Assurance, more or less what you're calling for, Malcolm, so we can check this science and make sure we're basing policy on sound, quality assured, robust science, which at the moment we certainly don't do.
And there is an important last point, and that is that this is affecting everyday Australians right around the country, not just in electricity bills, but here on the Sunshine Coast, we've had residents lumbered with stupid policies that are causing them to lose control of their property rights, their own property that they bought with their own money. And I know Mike Elliott, for example, who lives on Bribie Island, he's fought the local council, and eventually he went to the state government under Jeff Seeney when Campbell Newman was Premier, and Deputy Premier Seeney issued an order telling the councils they must not rely upon theoretical models, theoretical projections, but instead rely on the actual data. And guess what? The council released that order.
They should get out, walk along the shoreline, and they'll be able to see that, in fact, there is no catastrophic sea level rise. There is evidence of sea level fall, not rise.
We need to leave people in Australia free to get on with their lives and free up their hip pocket, because this is all rubbish.